Um, at this point, I'm not interested in.
Jake Paul getting in there versus Mike Tyson. Does it interest you, and how do you see that fight going down in July?
Not at all. Not at all.
Not really. Not even interested.
No.
Canelo Alvarez made a shocking statement just before the fight, dismissing the idea of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Meanwhile, Jake Paul also took him with sharp hands and warned him of the fight he is planning next.
Why Canelo, should be awake at night is because I'm coming for him. The fight is going to happen, and I will win and shock the whole entire world. And
Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez have been trading verbal jabs plenty of times. The feud between the two has been heating up, with Jake Paul consistently calling out Canelo in a series of public statements and social media posts.
This is me currently speaking it into existence, and currently people will sit there and listen to that and be like, oh, he's crazy. But I was crazy when I said, I'd be doing the biggest fights, when I would beat Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, all of these things. So you're crazy until you're not.
Jake has been vocal, challenging Canelo to step into the ring with him, an invitation that is part of this strategy for fame and whatnot. And we know Canelo, he is someone who never fights someone who he doesn't think worthy to fight with. Canelo shared his reviews about both Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, and said that he can handle both of them together in the ring.
Who do you think would be a harder fight for you right now, Mike Tyson or Jake Paul? In a hypothetical scenario, who do you think would be tougher for you?
I think if you put them together in the ring with me, maybe it's gonna...
Maybe both together?
Maybe it's going to be
tough.
a little complicated.
For Canelo, who has spent years fighting the world's best and building a Hall of Fame-worthy career, the idea of fighting a newcomer from the world of YouTube is unappealing and unworthy of his time. Conversely, Canelo has largely dismissed Jake Paul's callouts as nothing more than a stunt. Canelo views Paul not as a genuine threat, but as an entertainer looking to leverage real fighters' reputations for his own gain. He showed concerns about how it can affect the legacy and name of Mike.
It's hard to say, but it's risky for Mike Tyson.
Really?
For
Why?
sure. Yeah, because he's 57 and 58, I don't know, and boxing is it's not a joke.
It's no joke.
Canelo Alvarez openly criticized the proposed matchup between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, dismissing it as more spectacle than sport.
Canelo, thank you. What about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? What do you think about that fight?
He expressed sadness and concern over how such a fight could tarnish the legacy of a legendary figure like Tyson. He even slammed Netflix for sponsoring this fight and making this happen.
I think Netflix is good for boxing, but at that special fight, I think Netflix is doing something wrong there. I think Netflix being involved, yes, is good, but no in that kind of fights. I think it's more show than a fight.
Canelo referred to the event as a show and not a fight, showing his belief that it lowers the seriousness of boxing, especially as a representative of Mexico, a nation renowned for its rich boxing heritage. Canelo Alvarez made it clear that he considers fighting Jake Paul beneath his professional standards, stating that he cannot risk the reputation of his country by engaging in a bout with someone he views as fragile.
I always try to fight in these days because, it's very important for our people from Mexican days. So it's important. It's important to represent my country in these special days.
On November 15th, the boxing ring will be the stage for a wildly unconventional showdown that's been stirring up all kinds of chatter. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. It's not your typical fight. It's a collision of different worlds. Amidst the collision and pressure, Jake Paul opened up about his own doubts and concerns as he steps up to face a heavyweight legend. He acknowledged the daunting prospect of going up against someone with the weight and power advantage that Mike Tyson holds.
Definitely there's the moments of insecurity, especially moving up to heavyweight where he has the weight advantage and all of that. He's insanely powerful, and I know he's taking it seriously. There was an article being written and they wanted to interview him for it about me, and he said no. He's like, I'm in war mode. I'm not doing these stupid little interviews. So he's in kill mode. He wants to take my head off and go down as the legend who stopped this run of mine.
Now it looks like the pressure on Jake Paul is giving him a tough time. fighting the worst man on the planet, has shattered his confidence as the day is approaching. In his interview, he stated he might be in some kind of delusion and thinking to win, but he appreciated the power of his mind, which made him who he is today.
You know, raise the bar for myself, and I've tried to, you know, if your goals don't scare you, then they're not big enough. I've always followed that motto. And so at some points, yeah, I'm like delusional in what I was believing in or saying, but then all of a sudden it's not delusional and it's real. So I don't really know. And maybe that's the power of the human mind and the power of belief.
In response to Jake Paul's confident assertions, Mike Tyson offered a candid assessment, suggesting that Paul might be caught up in his own hype.
Jake believes his own lies sometimes. You know, I guess when you're in a big fight, you have to become delusional and believe you're somebody that you're actually not. But he's in a lot of trouble, I believe.
This isn't just any match. It's a blend of old-school toughness and new-age celebrity that's reshaping how we see boxing today. Delusional or not, it is Jake Paul, and he already is making strategies of falling Mike Tyson from the throne of the boxing world. He admitted that Mike would be surprised by his shots and would not be able to handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be highly, highly competitive in the first 3 to 4 rounds. But I think my jab and body shots will start to slow him down. And I think he'll be surprised by my power and my speed. And eventually, I believe I got a specific shot for him that I think he's gonna fall into. And I think it's gonna be lights out in rounds 4 or 5.
Enter Mike Tyson. His record is a boxing enthusiast's dream. 50 wins with 44 knockouts. Known for his explosive power and feared persona in the ring, Tyson was the youngest heavyweight champ and dominated his era like no other. Fast forward to today, and the question isn't just about who will win, but about what this fight means for boxing.
Nobody's a perfect expert with 2 people in the ring. Anything can happen, destiny's involved, and what we say means absolutely nothing. This is just for show. People talking like we don't know shit.
Mike Tyson, stepping into the ring at 58, contrasts sharply with the much younger Jake Paul, who is just 25. This age gap of 33 years not only highlights their generational differences, but also sets the stage for a unique confrontation where youth and experience collide. Mike Tyson confidently highlighted the unique draw he still holds in the boxing world, even at the age of 58.
Check this out. Know why we're here now?
Go for it.
58. I'm going to fight in the biggest arena ever. And it's going to be sold out, and who else can do that?
Mike Tyson offered a tempered assessment of Jake Paul's boxing career, acknowledging his efforts but also putting them into perspective based on his own extensive experience in the ring.
He's a good little fighter, you know, but he only has 10 fights. That's considered an amateur in our field.
A novice boxer, absolutely. And with that in mind, I mean, you are famous for saying that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. What are you anticipating when you punch this young man in the mouth?
I see him running around, and I have to catch him and slaughter him.
Do you fear for him with this? Because you're former undisputed champion. You're Iron Mike Tyson. You know how to throw a punch, you know how to defend yourself. You've just, like you've said, he's an amateur, a novice boxer. Do you fear for him?
Mike Tyson elaborated on his mindset towards anyone who steps into the ring with him, emphasizing that the decision to fight is an invitation to confrontation. Someone who has knocked everyone out who stood against him in the ring gave a clear message when asked about any fear in his heart as the date for the fight is approaching.
Oh, no, because he stepped into the ring. If my mother stepped into the ring, she has a problem with me. You know, whoever's in that ring, they have a problem. Don't go in the ring if you don't want that problem.
Now that Mike Tyson is also giving mixed signals, this fight is causing more disruption in the town. If we talk about Jake Paul, he burst onto the boxing scene with a bang, leveraging his massive online following to land big-ticket matches. Despite winning all his fights by knockout, skeptics point out that his opponents aren't exactly boxing stalwarts, which keeps the jury out on his credibility in the ring. And maybe this was the possible reason for Gervonta calling Jake Paul a clown.
Jake Paul is a clown and Brian is a baby clown. Tell them to get ready. That's what they do. They like to talk off of, they try to get fame off of other people's victories and things like that. So it shouldn't be no more talking. It should be just working.
Standing 6 feet 1 inches and weighing around 190 pounds, Jake's got the physical toolkit, but lacks the deep, gritty boxing background. But much bigger guys like Tyson Fury bow down to the legend Jake has decided to fight with. Tyson Fury got Mike Tyson during an interview, and he on the camera explained how he is named after such a big name.
Tell him what happens in the Usyk fight.
Oh, be it yourself. All these fights. Look, how about me and Mike on the same camera together? I'm named after this guy. It makes him more of a legend.
Yes, yes.
This man is a bona fide, living, alive legend. And I'm named after him, and I'm proud to be named after him.
There's a whole lot of debate around this matchup. Critics dismiss it as a stunt, arguing that it's more about clicks and tickets than genuine sportsmanship. They worry about what it means to put a legendary fighter past his prime against a younger, less experienced celebrity. It's a spectacle, sure, but at what cost? Eddie dismissed this fight and shared that when Mike left boxing, he was a short fighter. And what would have been left in him now?
I think it's very dangerous for someone of 58 years old to be fighting. I mean, the reality is that Mike Tyson was a shot fighter when he left the sport, and that was what, 20 years ago. What do you think? He's improved? He's no. I mean, you're gonna deteriorate so bad over that period that if you go back and watch his last few fights, he was done, gone.
Eddie Hearn expressed a mixture of disappointment and resignation when discussing a boxing event involving one of his childhood heroes. As a lifelong boxing enthusiast, Hearn finds it difficult to see revered figures from the sport partake in events that may not align with the traditional values of boxing.
Jake Paul, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm a hardcore boxing fan. He's one of my heroes. I find it very sad. But it's a big event. I understand people are going to watch it. And it's entertainment, I guess, but for someone that idolised the guy growing up, yeah, not the best day.
Do you think Jake Paul gets any credibility if he beats Mike Tyson?
He's 58 years old.
Eddie Hearn elaborated on his concerns about the proposed bout, weighing its potential benefits against its impacts on the integrity of boxing. He questioned the fight's appropriateness, noting a clear divide between those looking at the event through a commercial lens and those who value the sport's traditions.
When you weigh up the pros and cons, is this a good idea?
It depends, really. You know, I think it's hard not being... They're not really boxing people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's one boxing person that really wants this fight to happen.
No.
So they're looking at it from a different angle. They're looking at it for numbers. They're looking at it for, hype. And I get it. I understand that this freak show may well do good numbers. But I think if you genuinely care about the sport and the history of the sport, and particularly the legacy of one of the greatest fighters of all time, it's not something you'd ever consider.
Eddie Hearn expressed significant frustration regarding the proposed fight, clearly distancing it from what he considers genuine boxing. He critically assessed the match's credibility within the sport, emphasizing a disconnect between true boxing enthusiasts and the spectacle this fight represents.
I don't think it's something that you'd ever see a real boxing person. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just a different world, isn't it? That we live in, this new generation. But good luck to him. I'm sure it'll do good numbers, and hopefully Mike Tyson doesn't get hurt, because it will be a travesty for boxing.
There's another side that's all in for the hype, seeing it as a genius mashup of past and present that could draw eyes like nothing before. It's a chance for Tyson to prove age is just a number, and for Jake to show he's serious about this boxing thing. Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson's rivalry is etched deep into the annals of boxing history, marked by two unforgettable fights in the 1990s, including the notorious Bite Fight in 1997. These clashes not only showcased their prowess, but also sparked a heated rivalry that has lingered in the hearts of boxing fans around the world. Decades later, the possibility of a third match between these two legends continues to stir excitement. Addressing the potential for a rematch, Holyfield expressed.
Because obviously people like to see the two best people. Some people didn't get a chance to see Mike and I. But there's a lot of people out there and they want to know what, the good thing, we'll show a fight and they show what he do and show what I do and like that. But, everything is opinionated now about who the best. Everybody have a chance. I was the best. I felt that I was the best in my era.
He expressed his desire to ensure fans understand that while the bout is competitive, it isn't a matter of life and death. Holyfield also addressed concerns about the physical risks associated with returning to the ring at an older age, highlighting the importance of not underestimating these factors.
Well, yeah, my whole thing is that I'm like that with anybody, really. My whole thing is that, I don't want them to think it's a life-death situation, But, I can't have nobody be cheap shot me, though. Right? I'm a little too old to be getting all this stuff to happen to. The body don't come back.
Adam Catterall reflected on the 2020 exhibition fight between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., explaining why he supported it despite the fighter's age. For him, it was a respectful and nostalgic match between two boxing legends who still had a spark and a love for the sport. Catterall saw it as a harmless trip down memory lane, one where fans got to enjoy the skills of these legends without the risk of injury.
A couple of years ago, he had that exhibition fight with Roy Jones Jr., and I was all for it. I actually supported that because two legends of the game having a little bit of a trip down memory lane because the fire's still burning for him, showing everybody that nostalgia. They know how to defend themselves, they know how to make it look appealing, and they also know how to not hurt each other, if that makes sense. So therefore, I was all for them making that work and having a little bit of fun that night, and I think we all did have a little bit of fun that night when we saw those two guys have a go at it.
However, Catterall expressed serious concerns about Tyson's upcoming fight with Jake Paul. Unlike Jones, who shares a deep respect and understanding of the sport, Paul comes from a different background. Catterall worries that if Paul, a relative outsider to traditional boxing, oversteps boundaries or doesn't show the same reverence, the situation could escalate.
I'm concerned about this one because Jake Paul ain't from this world, mate. This ain't his world. This is Iron Mike Tyson's world. And therefore, if he does take the mick a little bit, and if he does go a little bit too far, then what does Mike do? Mike's not for messing about.
Continuing his commentary on Jake Paul, Adam Catterall expressed skepticism about Paul's transition into the world of boxing. He highlighted the stark difference between a traditional boxer and Paul, who has ventured into the sport from an entertainment background. Catterall emphasized that despite Paul's claims and ambitions, he lacks the foundational experience typical of lifelong boxers.
Fallen into the world of boxing. He's actually done a lot of good things for boxing because Amanda Serrano's on this card and he's done wonders for her career.
Yeah.
But he's fallen into the world of boxing. He's not a boxer. He's not from this world. And he's taking on, as Andy said a minute ago, one of the baddest men still on the planet today. It could be disastrous. It really could.
And then there's the bigger picture. How does a bout like this fit into the legacy of boxing? Is the sport morphing into something new where fame can fast-track you to the top? Or is this just a one-off that's more about entertainment than athleticism? No matter where you stand, this fight is a conversation starter and perhaps a glimpse into the future of boxing. Everyone's got an opinion, and come November 15th, we'll see how these two fighters handle the spotlight and each other. Who are you backing? Share and like the video if you have come this far.